Ladies and gentlemen, the situation we've long anticipated is finally here. Bitcoin is testing the support of this ascending channel. Now, once these things in fact occur, it's easy to get cold feet, to think that things are gonna plunge down. And sure, that just might happen, but that's not why we're here. We're here to identify these golden spots and then just hope that things will turn in our favor. And so far, we don't really have any reason whatsoever to expect Bitcoin to plunge down. And even if it were to, we'll just sell it off again and get back to the drawing board. Now, as it stands, not only are we testing the support of this ascending channel, we're also trading right at the EMA 100 on the daily. And if we move on to Marathon on the weekly chart, we can tell that it's right now testing this diagonal trend line as support. And ladies and gentlemen, as long as we can close at or above this line, things look really good. All this confluence that we've been going on about for weeks now has finally come to fruition. This, for example, is Ethereum on the weekly chart, and we can tell that that too is testing its primary trend line as support, just as we've discussed in detail, and all the while the RSI staying above the upper bearish blue line, which in turn is a sign of immense strength. But not only that, but take a look at this as well. We have descending trading volumes. Now, under normal circumstances, this would be a bad omen as we have a presumable rising wedge. But here's where things get truly beautiful. For as long as the RSI stays above the upper bearish blue, then this here means that the rising wedge is not what we should keep in mind, but rather the entire primary trend line. In such case, this is a continuation before being ready to move steadily upwards. Now, the situation would have been entirely different if the weekly RSI were to have made a dynamic move down towards the green neutral 50 line and then move up to close below the upper bearish blue. In such case, this rising wedge would be a horror in the making. Luckily though for us, that's not the case, as the RSI is still well and above the upper bearish blue line. And as anyone knows who's watched the RSI trilogy on this channel, whenever the RSI is trending above the upper bearish blue, this is what we call an RSI motorway, which is when an underlying is trending at its strongest. In this sense, the RSI in itself is giving us strong clues that the odds are in favor for a bounce to the upside. And just like Bitcoin has reached its deal breaker area, as well as Marathon and Ethereum, so too has Cardano. Now, the difference between Cardano and the aforementioned ones is that Cardano is trending in a descending channel, and it is currently trading right at its very support. And that support in turn is supported by the EMA 50 on the weekly chart. And this here means that if Bitcoin and altcoins were to actually be trending now, as opposed to this sideways nonsense, this here should be the spring feather to propel us high up in the air. And as we've discussed a lot over the last few weeks, there is a communal confluence amongst Bitcoin, Marathon, and a plethora of altcoins where their technical areas of support come beautifully together. And the same applies as well to Polkadot, which is trading in an ascending channel, at which is also found support. And if this could play out, then we might have a big head and shoulders in the making. With that said, it's still important for this confluence area to hold up, and we'll likely get those very results before the end of the weekend. And the absolute ideal scenario in Bitcoin would be to see a strong move up during the weekend, one that would take us above the EMA 50 on the daily, as well as this strong horizontal resistance. That would be all I need to know for six-figure Bitcoins. If Bitcoin, however, were to break out of this ascending channel, things would certainly not be ideal. Sure, we both have this horizontal support zone, which will coincide with the EMA 200 on the daily. Now, if Bitcoin were to break below this, it would naturally follow that Ethereum, Marathon, and all the other altcoins too would break below their key areas of support. And this, my friends, wouldn't be good news at all. Now, even though a break below this key trend line wouldn't necessarily mean it's game over, it could still amount to several months of additional waiting prior to being ready to move up again. And if there's something we've had enough of already this year, it is waiting. For this reason, I don't think it's time to break to the downside. This in itself makes it less likely. And another thing that does speak in favor of Bitcoin actually being able to hold up this support zone is that we've tested the EMA 200 as support twice already. And if it were to test it for a third time within this short a time distance, I don't expect it to hold up. Again, naturally, we don't know what the hell is gonna happen, but neither do we need to. All we need to know and all we need to do is to enter at the ideal probabilistic spot. If Bitcoin were to drop down and below, we'll just release it all once again. If on the other hand this were to hold up, I actually believe this will be the time for some astronomical Bitcoin prices. And to anyone who follows long life trading on Twitter or on AUGERE, you already know I've positioned myself for a long position in Marathon. For if this zone were to hold up, I expect Marathon to be able to reach somewhere between $250 and $400. And the thing that makes this incredibly attractive is that the downside is very limited and the upside is huge. We're talking a risk to reward of roughly 30 to 1 to 55 to 1. With odds like those, we don't need to know anything, we just need to put our money where our mouth is.